Ever wonder which McDonald's items to avoid at all costs and which are still worth ordering? Picture pulling into the drive-thru, fries smelling amazing, but one wrong pick leaves you with regret instead of comfort. But what if the menu's biggest secrets aren't the ones you think? Ready to find out? Let's kick things off with a sandwich that sounds like a safe choice but often tastes like a soggy compromise. Filet-O-Fish. Picture this. It is Friday during Lent in the 1960s, and McDonald's sales are dipping because many customers will not eat meat. A Cincinnati franchise owner decides to experiment, slipping a fish sandwich onto the menu to keep business afloat. To his surprise, it takes off, and the Filet-O-Fish becomes a permanent fixture. Back then, it was clever, innovative, and even kind of bold. Fast forward to today, though, and it feels more like the odd cousin at the family reunion. Tolerated but rarely celebrated. The first problem? Texture. The bun is soft to the point of mushy, the square fish patty is breaded but never quite crispy, and the tartar sauce is often applied unevenly, creating pockets of gloopy excess. Take a bite and you get more bun than fish, with a strange clash between processed cheese and seafood. Instead of tasting like a seaside treat, it comes across more like fast food filler pretending to be fancy. And let us talk about the cheese for a moment. Why only half a slice? It is one of the great McDonald's mysteries. Supposedly, the full slice overwhelmed the delicate fish, but the result today is a lopsided bite where the cheese feels more like an afterthought than a feature. Nutritionally, it is not a saint either. Many assume fish means healthier, but this sandwich is fried, high in calories, and packed with sodium. Pair it with fries and a drink, and you are not really saving yourself compared to ordering a cheeseburger. It is one of those menu tricks that looks lighter but hides the same pitfalls. Value is another issue. The Filet-O-Fish is often priced higher than the McChicken or even some burgers. For what you get, a small patty, a squishy bun, and minimal toppings, it feels underwhelming. Most people walk away thinking, I should have just ordered a cheeseburger. To be fair, it has loyal fans, especially among those who grew up eating it as a family tradition. Nostalgia keeps it alive, and for some it hits a comforting note. But judged purely on flavor and value, it is one of the weaker items still on the menu. So here is the real question for you. Do you actually enjoy the Filet-O-Fish, or is it just the thing you order when you cannot decide on anything else? Sliding into the lineup is the budget-friendly sandwich that promises poultry comfort, but too often delivers disappointment. McChicken. If you have ever grabbed one of these on a road trip, after a long shift, or during a rushed lunch break, you know exactly what to expect. The wrapper peels back to reveal a breaded chicken patty, a sprinkle of shredded iceberg lettuce, and a heavy swipe of mayonnaise sitting inside a plain white bun. On paper, it looks like simplicity done right. But reality? It is a sandwich that almost always underdelivers. The chicken patty is the weak link. Thin, uniform, and clearly processed, it lacks the juiciness that makes a real chicken sandwich crave-worthy. Bite into it, and there is no tender meat or natural texture. Instead, you get something that feels pressed together in a factory mold. Add in the bun, which tends to be soft to the point of collapsing, and you are left with a bite that tastes more like filler than food. It is the definition of fast, but not the definition of flavor. The toppings do little to help. The lettuce is shredded so fine it spills out everywhere, leaving your lap or car seat sprinkled with green confetti. It never tastes fresh, more like something scooped from a bag that has been sitting too long. The mayonnaise is slathered on in uneven globs, sometimes too little, often too much, and its greasy heaviness ends up masking what little chicken flavor there is. One bite feels like a mayo sandwich with a side of lettuce. Price is what keeps the McChicken alive. It is cheap, one of the lowest cost sandwiches on the menu, and that matters when you just want to fill your stomach without emptying your wallet. But cheap does not always mean value. Because the patty is so small and unsatisfying, many people grab 2 or even 3 to feel full, which cancels out the savings. Suddenly you are paying what you would for a much better sandwich, but with 3 times the disappointment. Of course, fans have found ways to make it work. Some ask for extra pickles or hot sauce to give it more bite. Others use it as part of a menu hack by combining it with a cheeseburger. a mashup that has become oddly popular under the nickname McGangbang. The very existence of these hacks, though, tells you everything you need to know. The McChicken cannot stand on its own. It needs dressing up to feel worth it. In the end, the McChicken is not disgusting. It is just forgettable. It is the sandwich you order when you are broke, tired, or indecisive, not when you are craving something memorable. It fills the gap, but it does not give you joy. And for a menu item that has survived decades, that is a pretty underwhelming legacy. So here's my question for you. Is the McChicken a guilty pleasure in your book, or just the sandwich you grab when your wallet is thin? Landing in the spotlight as McDonald's answer to the chicken sandwich wars, but rarely delivering on its promise, is the McCrispy chicken sandwich. When it first launched, fans were curious. Could McDonald's finally compete with Chick-fil-A or Popeyes? Ads showed golden, crunchy chicken on a buttered potato roll with crisp pickles, and for a brief moment it looked like McDonald's had cracked the code. Then you unwrap it, take a bite, and reality sets in. Here is the truth. The McCrispy is not the revolution it claims to be. The chicken fillet is big, yes, but it is often greasy on the outside and dry on the inside. The breading lacks the satisfying crunch you expect from a crispy sandwich, sliding off in chunks instead of clinging to the meat. The potato bun sounds premium but usually turns soggy before you finish. And the pickles, meant to cut through the heaviness, are more of a footnote than a feature. The flavor balance just never quite lands. Without sauce, it feels bland. With sauce from one of the deluxe versions, it quickly becomes messy and overpowering. Either way, the sandwich feels like it is trying hard to be a competitor, but never quite stands tall. Price is another sticking point. The McCrispy often costs more than a McChicken, and even rivals some burgers. But for what you get, a dry fillet, a soggy bun, and a couple of pickles, the value is not there. People are paying for the illusion of premium rather than the reality of flavor. To be fair, some fans defend it. They like the size, the occasional fresh batch that actually hits the mark, or they order it simply because they want something bigger than a McChicken. But judged against the gold standard of fast food chicken sandwiches, the McCrispy lags behind. It is more marketing than masterpiece. So let me ask you, is the McCrispy a worthy contender in the chicken sandwich wars, or is it just McDonald's most overhyped attempt at going premium? Sneaking into the lineup is the snackable item that looks fun on the outside, but often feels hollow on the inside. Chicken nuggets. Nuggets are probably one of the most iconic fast food inventions ever. Kids love them, adults love the convenience, and they are perfect for dipping on the go. Open that little cardboard box, see the golden pieces inside, and it feels like comfort food in miniature form. But bite into one, and the flaws start to show. The breading is often the best part. Crispy, salty, and full of flavor. But that is also the problem. Because once you peel away the breading, what is left inside does not look like juicy chicken breast. It is highly processed chicken meat, ground and reshaped into 4 standard nugget shapes: the bell, the boot, the bone, and the ball. They are uniform, predictable, and far from natural. Texture is where nuggets really falter. When fresh out of the fryer, they can be decent, hot, crispy, and tasty enough with sauce. But leave them for even a few minutes, and they lose their charm. The breading softens, the meat turns rubbery, and you are left with something closer to a sponge than a snack. Without sauce, they taste flat. With sauce, you are mostly tasting sugar, salt, and artificial tang. Portion size also tricks you. A 4-piece or 6-piece box seems like a light snack, but it rarely satisfies hunger. A 10-piece or 20-piece order fills you up, but by the end, it feels heavy and greasy. Nuggets are the definition of diminishing returns. The first 1 or 2 taste fun, but by the 10th, you are just chewing for the sake of finishing. And let us not forget the sauces. Sweet and sour, barbecue, honey mustard, ranch. They are meant to save the nuggets, and sometimes they do. But that also says everything. If the food cannot stand on its own without drowning in sauce, maybe it is not a winner. Of course, nuggets have their place. They are kid-friendly, easy to eat in the car, and nostalgic for anyone who grew up with Happy Meals. But judged as a serious menu item for adults, they feel more like filler than food. So tell me this. Are McDonald's nuggets a childhood favorite you never outgrew? Or do you think they are just overpriced dipping breading with a chicken afterthought? Coming in sweet but not always satisfying is the dessert that promises indulgence but often melts into a sticky mess: hot fudge sundae. The idea is simple: creamy vanilla soft serve topped with warm fudge sauce. It is the kind of treat that sounds perfect after a salty meal. You picture digging in, the hot fudge dripping down the sides, mixing with the cold ice cream in every spoonful. But what you actually get is rarely that perfect. The ice cream itself is the first issue. McDonald's soft serve is more air than cream. It is light, fluffy, and melts fast. That means your sundae often turns soupy before you are even halfway through. Instead of creamy indulgence, you end up drinking the last bites like a milkshake. Then there is the fudge. Sometimes it is too thin, disappearing into the ice cream instantly. Other times it is so thick it hardens into a shell, clumping together instead of spreading evenly. Either way, the balance is off. You either get spoonfuls of plain vanilla or mouthfuls of pure fudge. Rarely do you get the satisfying mix the sundae promises. Presentation does not help. The clear plastic cup shows every streak, every drip, every uneven swirl. It looks messy almost immediately, and it tastes about the same. For a dessert that is supposed to feel indulgent, it often feels rushed and inconsistent. And then there is the ice cream machine curse. How many times have you gone to order a sundae only to hear, "Sorry, the ice cream machine is down"? For a treat this simple, availability should not be the biggest obstacle, but somehow it often is. Price-wise, sundaes are affordable, but affordable does not always mean worth it. When compared to real ice cream shops or even supermarket pints, the McDonald's sundae feels like a shortcut, a sugar fix rather than a dessert worth savoring. For kids, it is fine. For nostalgic adults, maybe it hits the spot now and then. But for anyone expecting something truly satisfying, it leaves you wishing you had skipped dessert altogether. So here's what I want to know. Do you still order the sundae for old times' sake, or do you skip it because it never tastes quite as good as you remember? Kicking off the final round of Avoid at All Costs is a menu item that tries to bring a taste of the morning Southwest to McDonald's, but usually ends up being more disappointment than delight: breakfast burrito. On paper, the idea is brilliant. Wrap up scrambled eggs, sausage, cheese, and peppers in a tortilla, and you have a portable breakfast you can eat one-handed on the go. Perfect for commuters, right? But reality has a way of crashing into that dream. Unwrap the burrito, and what you often find is a lukewarm, limp wrap that feels like it has been sitting in the warming bin since sunrise. The eggs are the first red flag. Instead of fluffy, freshly scrambled eggs, you get small, rubbery bits that taste more like egg substitute than the real deal. They are dry, crumbly, and sometimes oddly chewy, which is not exactly the start you want to your morning. The sausage is chopped into little pellets that never feel substantial, and the peppers and onions are often diced so finely that they vanish into mush. Combine them all, and you get a filling that looks like confetti and tastes about as exciting. Then there is the tortilla. A good burrito should be wrapped tight and soft, with just the right chew. McDonald's version: thin, gummy, and prone to splitting open after a few bites. By the time you reach the bottom, half the filling is spilling into the wrapper, leaving you with more mess than meal. Instead of fueling your morning, it leaves you frustrated, reaching for napkins and wondering why you did not just order a breakfast sandwich instead. The value is questionable too. Sure, the burrito is often sold in twos for a few dollars, which sounds like a deal. But what are you really paying for? Tiny portions of filler ingredients that do not satisfy your appetite. By the time you finish two, you are still hungry, or worse, you feel weighed down by grease without the satisfaction of a real breakfast. Taste consistency is another issue. Sometimes the burrito is piping hot, with cheese melted just right. Other times it is barely warm, the cheese unmelted, and the tortilla soggy from steam. That unpredictability makes it less of a breakfast staple and more of a gamble. And when breakfast is supposed to set the tone for your day, who wants to gamble first thing in the morning? For kids, maybe it is fine, small, easy to eat, and not too expensive. But for adults, it feels like the afterthought of the breakfast menu, something tossed in for variety but never perfected. Compared to the Egg McMuffin or even the Sausage McMuffin, the burrito does not stand a chance. So let me ask you, have you ever finished a McDonald's breakfast burrito and thought, that was worth it? Or do you secretly wish they would replace it with something better? Now, let us move to one of the shining stars on the menu, a breakfast item that actually lives up to the hype and has stood the test of time. Egg McMuffin. This sandwich is more than just food, it is history. Introduced in the early 1970s, the Egg McMuffin was the first real fast food breakfast sandwich. Before it, grabbing breakfast on the go was not common. The Egg McMuffin changed that forever, and it still carries that legacy every morning when people pull up to the drive-thru. What makes it so good? It is the balance. A perfectly round egg, freshly cracked into a metal ring so it cooks up firm and neat. A slice of Canadian bacon that adds just enough salty savoriness. Melted American cheese for creaminess. And all of it sandwiched between a toasted English muffin with a slightly crisp outside and a soft, chewy inside. Every bite hits the same note. Warm, hearty, simple, and satisfying. Unlike other menu items that rely on heavy sauces or gimmicky toppings, the Egg McMuffin is all about quality basics. You taste the egg, the cheese, the bread, and the meat. No single ingredient steals the spotlight. It is breakfast harmony in the palm of your hand. The value is strong too. Yes, prices have gone up over the years, but you are getting real ingredients that work well together. Compared to the cheaper options like the burrito or McChicken, the Egg McMuffin feels like something made with care. It is filling enough to keep you going, but not so heavy that you regret it later. Consistency is another big win. Walk into any McDonald's around the world, and the Egg McMuffin will taste almost exactly the same. That reliability is comforting, especially for seniors or frequent travelers who just want a breakfast they can count on. And let us not forget the nostalgia factor. For many, the Egg McMuffin is tied to memories of road trips, early work commutes, or Saturday morning treats. It is more than food. It is a reminder of routines, families, and little moments of comfort. That emotional connection keeps people coming back even decades later. So here's the question for you. Is the Egg McMuffin still your go-to breakfast, or do you think it is time for McDonald's to invent the next classic? And finally, we have reached the crown jewel of McDonald's. The one menu item that has never lost its throne and is still worth every bite. French fries. Think about it. What is the one smell that can fill a car, make everyone reach into the bag before you get home, and instantly trigger memories of childhood? McDonald's fries. Golden, thin, perfectly salted, and crisp enough to crunch but soft enough inside to melt away. They are not just a side, they are the heart of the brand. The magic is in the preparation. The fries are cut thin and fried twice, once to cook through, then again to crisp up. They are salted while still hot, so the seasoning sticks just right. And while other chains have tried thicker fries, curly fries, or seasoned fries, McDonald's sticks with simplicity. That consistency is why their fries remain the gold standard. Of course, there are flaws. Fries can be amazing when fresh out of the fryer, but give them 10 minutes and they lose their edge. They go limp, they cool down, and suddenly the magic fades. But in those first glorious bites, when they are piping hot and perfectly crisp, nothing else compares. Price is fair too. Fries come in every size, from a small paper packet to the iconic red carton of large fries. No matter the size, they rarely feel overpriced because they deliver the one thing people expect: pure, salty satisfaction. Many even say the fries taste better than the burgers themselves. There is also the nostalgia factor. For generations, kids have dipped them in milkshakes, teens have shared them on dates, and families have grabbed them by the handful during road trips. They are more than food. They are shared memories in every carton. Nutritionally, fries are not a health food, and everyone knows it. But that has never stopped them from being the most beloved item on the menu. They are comfort food, plain and simple. And in a world where so many menu items come and go, McDonald's fries have stayed true. So tell me this. Do you think McDonald's fries are still the best in fast food, or have you found another chain that finally does them better? And there you have it. From soggy sandwiches to fries that never lose their crown, we have tasted our way through the McDonald's menu. So now tell me, in the comments, which item you would crown or cut? Hit that like button if you had fun, and subscribe to the hidden menu for more stories served hot.
And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.